Well, it has been quite a number of days that I have not made a video, and some of you haven't seen me here behind the camera. I know some of you have seen me out in the public, and it's been an experience getting to know some of my followers, and it's a pleasure to have met many of you. Those of you who are watching the video now will know who you are. Different locations, so I'm getting a little recognition as I move around the island, and that's a good thing. I hope my messages are being well received, and I wanted to talk about human trafficking this evening. Coincidentally, that is a subject matter that I am now studying. Um, and as some of you may know, I'm just thinking, my hair. I know some of you were talking about my hair when I was on the road this past few days. But yeah, I went to the beach on Monday, did some cardio in the salt water. It's supposed to be very, very healthy for you, and you're working out. So those of you that don't go to the beach, try that. And those of you that do go, while you're there, do some workout. But yeah, I went to the beach on Monday, did a little swimming, soaked up some of the salt water for quite a while. It made me feel very, very good. And I've just been enjoying the feeling. But getting back to human trafficking, just this week also, we've heard the terminology of human trafficking mentioned in the parliament, and it was mentioned concerning the immigration atmosphere here in the Cayman Islands, referring to what has been happening in terms of persons on the international scale. Other countries have been recruiting persons from those countries, and I'm going to call some of those countries, and you all can come at me as much as you like. It really doesn't matter to me. This is my page, these are my videos, and I can say what I want without blatantly disrespecting anyone, and I can block people if I want to. Other medias do that. But places like Jamaica, the Philippines, India, over there in Africa like Nepal, and even in Honduras, I've heard they have these recruiting companies. Now, I have been talking about this for quite some time, and I have made comments on some of these pages on social media that promote trying to convince people that they should pay them a certain amount of money and they can bring them to the Cayman Islands and they'll have a work permit and a job and somewhere to stay. And the government has, obviously, they've known about it for quite some time, but now they've brought it right out into the spotlight, and they're doing something about it. So all of you people that are having and actually the Jamaican government is aware of this issue also. I think one of our local very popular media source that is known for what's the word I want to use, that is known for bringing things out into the open, actually contacted some months ago agencies in Jamaica asking if certain places had business license and that sort of thing in order to operate the types of services they were offering, in terms of, telling people we can get work permits for you in the Cayman Islands and we can transport you there, that sort of thing. So our government is now very, very aware of it. It has influenced how they are addressing the immigration issue here in the Cayman Islands. I know a lot of you are not happy with immigration, and I just have to be clear. Tough luck if you're not happy. This is not the first time we've had immigration reform in the Cayman Islands, and it's not going to be the last time. Throughout history, every country decides they're going to restructure the immigration scenery in their country. It's being done on a mass scale in the United States. People are complaining there too, but what can you do if the leaders of countries decides we have to make changes? You have to just go with it. If it doesn't work out, well then it has to be revisited and rechanged. But how are we gonna know if it's not gonna work out if we don't try it? So go and complain on what's going on in the United States, go and complain on what's going on in Canada, the UK, Dubai, China. People are getting killed over there. Don't just complain about Cayman, because you know what? I said it before and I'll say it again. Cayman is one of the most lax places with immigration policy. Our shores are almost open door policy, and we have to change that because it is becoming too much for us now. And so I just wanted to talk again, like I said, on human trafficking. It's been mentioned in the parliament just this week. I do believe it was on the, let me see, it was on the, today is the 14th. I can't see now, I have on my glasses. It was mentioned in the parliament just this week, about 2 days ago. There was an exchange with our officials in parliament because a member of Caymanian employment mentioned that what is happening in the Cayman Islands is human trafficking. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. What is happening with people transporting persons from one country to another, forced labor, forced modern day slavery it's being called, is human trafficking, because you're moving people from one location to another in the hopes of under false pretenses. And so the countries that I've just named, in addition to other countries, have been doing this. They're offering these services and they're charging people money. Some of you have actually messaged me about this issue where it's happening to you. Most of you that have done so are actually from Jamaica. And I just have to say it and be real. I'm not picking on Jamaica as a whole country, or all Jamaicans, but majority of the people that have reached out to me since I've been making these videos in the last few weeks have been Jamaicans, saying they've been, they know of these services. Is these services real? They've taken money from them and can't deliver, and that sort of thing. And the people think it's genuine. The people that are trying to take advantage of these services think it's genuine, but it's not genuine. The only people that can do that for you guys is any companies that are actually on island here, that are a registered business in the Cayman Islands. And they are the only companies that can say, we can try to recruit you to the Cayman Islands. They're employment agencies, staffing agencies, whatever you want to call them. Those are the places overseas, in Jamaica and the Philippines and Dubai and Nepal and India and Pakistan and some of those other places. They cannot do it. They're taking your money under false pretenses and they cannot deliver, and that's why so many of you are being transported here. It's like when people go up through the border to Mexico and go up through to the United States, and when they get to California and Texas, people are there to receive them. The coyotes, they're called. I studied international relations and human rights in the United States. I studied about human trafficking. I studied about sex trafficking. I was an advocate for women, an advocate, a guardian ad litem as an advocate for women who were being sex trafficked. So I know about these things. And sex trafficking is different than human trafficking, but it has now become a branch of human trafficking. It's under that umbrella, but sex trafficking is so much different. It's people taking women, and they do boys and men too. And traffic them for prostitution and for sexual reasons. And so that is a bit different than, gosh, it's been 9 minutes already and I feel I haven't even started talking. But that is a different form of human trafficking. And when human trafficking started off, it wasn't necessarily about sex trafficking. Human trafficking started off in the terms of back in from slavery, and so they call it modern day slavery because it's basically the same thing. Like when they brought the Africans and the Chinese from the other side of the world to the modern world and to Europe in order for them to engage in employment or slavery. You know, to have people. I'm trying to simplify my words so everyone that listens to the videos can understand, because a lot of you on here have English as a second language and may not understand some of the words sometimes. So there are quite a bit of documents. I don't want to get too technical, but there are quite a bit of documents on the international scale that a lot of these countries are a part of, that they are fighting against human trafficking. So any of you companies, if you get caught by authorities, you can be charged more than likely under human trafficking laws. If your country especially is a part of these treaties or these declarations, some of these documents are called, you're going to be in big trouble. And I can tell you, if you that reside on this island or want to come to the Cayman Islands or have been here, have not gone on and listened to the budget or listened to the parliament like I am always telling people to do when they're in session, you're missing a lot of information, because this government is not playing. Minister Miles is not playing. The opposition, even though we saw a heated exchange in the parliament this week, based on some misunderstanding of the words that Minister Miles used, we saw the deputy leader and the leader of the opposition really had nothing much to say, because I interpreted that to mean they know that what's going on in this country is definitely human trafficking. It may not be as they understood the words coming from the minister, but the minister was right. I know he's right. I've seen it online, and I've been able to identify that that's what's happening. And the government here knows that that's what it is. It's human trafficking. And we can't be responsible for that, because we have human rights here too, and we can be held liable if we don't fight this and combat it and try to control it or put laws in place that will fight against it. So all of you people that are complaining about Cayman this and Cayman that, and all the immigration laws is only towards Jamaicans. Jamaica isn't the only country that have people here in the Cayman Islands. The government is saying there's over 100 nationalities. Think of that in Jamaica and the Philippines and the Africans, just maybe 5 or 10 that we can think of at the top of our head that we say every day, but there's over 100 nationalities here in the Cayman Islands. So it's not about Jamaicans only, to be honest. So you guys need to just stop it. Stick a pin, as the saying goes. But spread the word in Jamaica that the government is on alert. The United States is on alert. The UK is on alert. There's a lot of the countries that are on alert right now, because everything is changing up in the world with technology. And you people that are doing the trafficking directly or indirectly are who are responsible for these changes, because you're trying to make a quick buck off of the backs of people who are desperate to improve their lives. And the Cayman Islands cannot accept everyone. We simply cannot. So if you get upset with that, that's just too bad. I have to be real with you. I like everyone that does viewing. I wish everyone that was viewing my page would follow it. Some of you are so nosy. But it's a fact. We have human rights here. We have our Bill of Rights under our Constitution. And we have the International Declaration of Human Rights, which a lot of countries have signed on to that. We have different, I'm just trying to pull up some of my printer has decided to just go kaput on me, so maybe someone will sponsor me a printer. Otherwise I would have printed this stuff off and been able to read it for you guys. But I just wanted to say, spread the word that the Cayman Islands is not going to tolerate human trafficking. That's exactly what it is. I'm going to tell you what the UK says. Since we are a British dependent territory, I'm going to tell you what the UK says about human trafficking. And some of you may not understand it or see it like that, because your interpretation of things, your understanding of things, you only listen for a few minutes and you don't watch the whole video, but you sit down and watch other videos that gossip and stuff like that, and then you listen to a lot of stuff that's just going around on the road instead of doing your own research. And so I am going to read from the UK's definition of human trafficking, since we are a British dependent territory and we have to follow the UK, the English guidelines, and it says human trafficking involves the recruitment or movement of people. So recruitment and movement is exactly what you companies are doing. You're recruiting people to pay you money in order to tell them, I'm going to take you to the Cayman Islands and help you get a work permit, and there'll be a place there for you to stay and all that. That's recruitment. Or movement means you're helping them move from one place or another, whether it's locally in your country or overseas, international. You recruiting processes are pulling these people, leading these people, and that's called movement, because they're following your leads, they're following your advice and your suggestions. For exploitation, by the use of threat, force, fraud, that's very important, that word, because that's what your recruiting companies are doing. You're committing fraud on these people by taking their money and making them promises that you cannot guarantee. You don't have the authority or the power to guarantee the services that you are charging for. And sometimes, some of these people some of these people come from countries where they have cultural, I don't know what to call it right now, but they come from villages and that sort of thing. Most of these people that come from like the Philippines and the African continents and stuff, they come from little cultural pockets of people, right? And a lot of them, they have to sell what their families have in order to want to come out to buy tickets or pay these recruiting coyotes, they call them in the United States, in order to get out of the country to form a better life. So they're giving up all that they have and what their families have in order to do this. And you people are taking advantage of them. The Cayman Islands is not going to stand for that. And when Minister Michael Miles said in the House this week that our government, he didn't say which government, he didn't say past government, immediate past, present, whatever. When he said government, my interpretation of that is he means the people that operate the Cayman Islands, the persons that have been in charge of making the laws and running the country at any given time have failed to put things in place, to put laws and policies in place that could have helped to combat some of these issues. That's my understanding of what he was trying to convey. I didn't hear him say anyone's name. I'm not going to get into all of that, what he discussed, but I am just saying some points that he made, how I interpreted those points, and I agree. And now, like another MP said on the floor, the past governments have gradually, and that's what governments do, they start putting things in place, but they never really finishes stuff, and they may not get back into power, so the next government is tasked with working on those things. Sometimes those governments decide, you know what that last government did, I don't want to have anything to do with that. We're going to do a whole new thing for ourselves. We're gonna approach this thing in a different angle, or they will just pick up where the last government left off and put the little pointers here and there and improve on that. And what I think this present government is doing is a little bit of both. They're picking up a little bit from when the last government was doing some stuff, or the previous government before that, which was not the last government, was a different administration, but they're also putting a whole new icing on it. And I think having the knowledge that I have, I think this new immigration policy, however it passes, is come as close as it can to the bill. It will bring the Cayman Islands in compliance a little bit closer with human rights issues, meeting human rights standards. And nobody's really saying that. I really haven't heard any of the parliamentarians saying that in the House, that This new bill, if some of the things passes as the government hopes it is, it's going to bring the Cayman Islands up to where it needs to be for human rights issues, because you see what's happening. I shouldn't say this, but people are suing the Cayman Islands government. People are suing because we don't have the policies and the laws in place to protect these people that are being brought here. In the first place, they shouldn't even have reached our shores. So now the government is trying to make sure that they put all of that in place, and I can't wrong them. And I think all of the MPs collectively, all 19 of them, are on board with most of what we're seeing, because this isn't just about marrying for convenience and work permits and rollover and this isn't about all of that entirely. It's about human rights. That's what it's about, really and truly. And it's about making sure that Caymanians get their rightful place in this country, regardless of who wants to think Caymanians are lazy. It's making sure Caymanians get their rights in the country, like everybody else have their rights in their country. When in Rome, do what the Romans do. And who else to get first preference in a country but our own people, regardless of what anybody else say about our own people and what some of us say about our own people. We still have the right to have the first and foremost rights in our country, in our islands. Then, second best, are residents that we have opened our shores and invited here, right? So many of you don't like the fact that we have these new fees. I'm going to talk about the new fees in a separate video, but it has to be done. Go up there and tell President Trump not to set new fees. Our little fees in the Cayman Islands are nothing compared to what the United States is charging for their applications. The UK, there's nothing. Jamaica are changing their fees too. The Philippines are changing their fees. People, do your research, please. And you recruiters, you must understand you cannot send people to the Cayman Islands. You're making it bad for yourself. And technology, unfortunately, has made it easy for you guys to do it, but it's also made it easy for the governments to try to fight against what you're doing. Trafficking is a crime that can occur across international borders. That means country to country to country, or within a country, means locally in the country. It often crosses multiple geographic and legal boundaries. So when it says it often crosses multiple and geographical boundaries, geographical means the map and the world and the locations, different continents and countries. That's geography and geographical, right? Same thing as saying international. And legal boundaries, now that's where the legal boundaries come in when it comes to the laws, the policies, the agreements that the different countries sign in order to say, okay, we're going to sign this document to say we are going to be responsible for playing a part of what happens in our country, and we're going to cooperate with other countries to make sure that they play their part, and we all come together collectively to stop illegal activity around the world. And that includes human trafficking. So if you guys think that there's nobody out there that's and some of you are so green, right? That you do these videos on TikTok and social media and think you're going to get away with it. That's the biggest evidence. You're giving authorities the evidence. Trust me, I have a lot of evidence that people message me. And the one thing these social medias make it now, you can't even delete some of the messages anymore. And I'm going to give the authorities any message that somebody says to me. Somebody take money from me, because the person that I'm telling you, so don't send me any more messages. If you give someone money to try and get a work permit in the Cayman Islands, doesn't necessarily make you responsible or liable, because you're not the person that is saying I can do this. All you're innocently doing is believing that these people can help you and bring you to the promised land. And there's no promises here. So men, women, and children may be trafficked for various purposes. Listen to this now. They include labor sectors. For example, especially in agriculture, food processing, manufacturing, domestic, and other like services is primarily where these human trafficking goes on. domestic servitude, I just mentioned that, domestic, forced begging and petty theft, and sexual exploitation. This is a definition by the UK. Individuals who have been trafficked are likely to experience multiple physical and mental health risks prior to, during, and after their trafficking experiences, and many suffer acute and long-term health problems, right? That is saying that some of you recruiters could be held liable if you got caught of things that happens to some of these persons that you cause to be trafficked to the Cayman Islands or any other country. I am just trying to pull up here .ky what the Cayman Islands says in regards to human trafficking. Because I believe some of you think that this is a joke thing, and do not realize how serious this is, what is being done to you all when you're paying your money to come to the Cayman Islands and not knowing what's going to take place here. I don't see anything here. I think it's in the, I did it on my other phone, but of course I forgot that my other phone is where my is the phone that I'm using for the videoing. But I just want to say, it was a testy discussion in the Parliament about this issue, so many of you need to be on your P's and Q's that the government is paying attention to this issue. You recruiters, you coyotes, I'm going to call them because that's what they're called in the United States. Human traffickers are called coyotes. You need to stop it. Government, let's work together. And when you get comfortable and think everything is going hunky-dory, it's not. They're building cases. They have what they call unilateral agreements. That means each country have agreements with one another. Those are unilateral, bilateral, whatever kind of lateral. They are agreements that countries make with one another to deal with crime. And human trafficking, we realize in the Cayman Islands, has now become a major issue. And of course we know that everybody loves the Cayman Islands because we're always mentioned in all the movies. People stash their monies here. You know, we have a booming tourism product. We have a very good financial product. And so the Cayman Islands is on the radar for human traffickers. We know that they love our dollar. They absolutely love the Cayman Islands dollar. So I'm telling people, please do not pay your money to these persons about please do not pay your money to these persons. I do apologize. This is a very sensitive issue for me because of the work I've done before and the experience, the things that I've seen of and now it's happening here on these shores. The Compass did a very extensive article about a gentleman the other day who found himself in that position. Some of you are writing me and saying you've paid your money to people and you can't get your money back and they didn't deliver, or you've come here and things weren't how you turned out, how you thought it would turn out. And it's really heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. And the Cayman Islands government must make a change. You can't, you don't have to be pleased about it, but they must make a change in order to protect Caymanians, but also to protect the people who want to try and get here. And if that means changing the fees, that means changing the laws, Minute, let me tell you, you guys know people aren't going to stop coming to Cayman because immigration is changing. They're not going to stop. You know how much times the United States have changed their laws? They change their laws like each administration is 4 years. Sometimes they change their laws like twice a year. Their fees for their applications go up in the thousands this time. Does that stop anyone from wanting to go to the land of milk and honey, the United States? No. Has that stopped anyone from wanting to go to the U.S. Embassy to apply for visas or visitors visas or wanting to go? No. So you guys can complain till the cows come home. It's not going to change. The mind is made up that we have to change the laws. We have to do things to protect our shores and to protect the people who aspire to come here or who have arrived on these shores. You remember years ago in the Cubans were trying to, we had mass migration of Cubans in the 80s, and we had to protect ourselves. United States had to protect themselves with the Cuban migrants also. So this is something, people, you just have to stop complaining so much, honestly. If it doesn't fit you, then find an alternative. Do not give your money to these people. If you know someone that's doing these things, you report it. Social media, every government department, gov.ky, and you just go into the search bar and you search for work or CBC or what is it called? Labor and pension. Matter of fact, I got some information here for you guys with labor and pension, because human trafficking is going on right here in Cayman, even on people who are in work permits. I feel bad for Minister Miles that he didn't get to. People were pushing back on what he was saying, because I think he made his point quite clear. Some things could have been left out, sure, but initially he gave his statement. I think he made his point pretty clear. He's right. Department of Labor and Pension actually have a confident line, and it's 945-3073. Again, I wish they would have, but they can't do that because it wouldn't be confident. A confidential line, 945-3073, where you can call and make a complaint and remain anonymous. And I still advise people to block their numbers if they want to, because government can see your numbers. That's how their system is set up. I got a little emotional with this subject matter here. And, okay, here's something, the Human Rights Commission. I don't think I want to read that. That's from a lawyer talking about human rights. But yes, just spread the word. If some of these services take your monies, report them. Report them to your government in your native country, or report them to the government here in the Cayman Islands. You can even report them to me, and I'll keep your confidentiality. I can share people's stories without sharing user names and names and stuff. I can just screenshot it and crop it and just share the actual story, so the government can be on alert and say, okay, now we're really going to start looking, and they're going to monitor social media. So you guys continue to make your social media. Donald Trump made it very clear that he's going to be monitoring everybody's social media, no matter what kind of application you put in to the United States. Your social media is going to be monitored. If you're putting in for a new passport, a new driver's license, everything. And if you think the most powerful country in the world shouldn't do that, then wait, what do you want to think? He's going to do what he wants to do. They're going to do it. Don't make the Democrats fool you and think that it can't be done, that they're not for it. And don't make the opposition here make you think that they're not for most of these changes. I'm telling you, this is a good thing for the Cayman Islands, and people will work around it. People will learn to adapt to it and work around it, and stop sending people here to the Cayman Islands. You're being watched, you recruiters, you're being watched. So just stop it, especially let me tell you, my heart bleeds for Jamaica and the Philippines. Those are the two countries, and India. Those three markets, They are taking such advantage of the people in those 3 countries there. My heart just bleeds every time I read a message for you people. And my Caymanians, please stop treating persons the way that you treat them here with work permits. That you're taking their monies and not paying their pensions and not paying their health insurance, and you're working them without paying the money. People, I can tell you, that is a form of human trafficking. It's a form of slavery. And that is a form of human trafficking. Forcing people into forced labor and not giving them the benefits that they're entitled to under that labor. And you have rights here in the Cayman Islands once you're here and working, unless you're working outside the terms and conditions of your work permit. And even then you can still make complaints. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. I'm tired of saying the same thing. I'm repeating myself, but you guys keep asking me the same. I know you're not watching my videos. They're probably a little bit too long. But I try to speak so most of you can understand. Some of you from your own country, how you're treating your own country people. In Spanish, they call it paisanos. You're treating your own country people like they're nothing. And then complaining about Caymanians treating expats a certain way. Or I call them immigrants. I don't like the word expats. It sounds too derogatory, too insulting. Caymanians, you need to stop it. And that's another reason why the laws are going to change, because the government knows that Caymanians are doing certain things too. Pay the people what you work them for. Pay them. Pay their pension and their health insurance. They're humans. And a lot of that is happening, especially in domestic, and a lot of you domestic people are working outside of your terms and conditions. You're working here, there, and everywhere, and then you're not getting paid because the people that are working, you know that you can't go complain because they're not your work permit holders. So if you go complain, you're going to get in trouble too, because you're not working for the right employer. So you got to, this is why it's important. This is what the government is trying to solve. This is why it's important to work with your employer that you're with, unless you got subcontracted out or you got permission from work. So if you have a work permit and the person need to share it. Apply to work, they do it. And that will help avoid you getting into a job where you're not getting paid. Because then you'll have a voice and go and say, well, you know what, I'm sharing this work permit with Miss Sally, and Miss Sally isn't paying me. That's why it's so important to be on the right side of the law, on the right side of immigration, because then you have a voice, you can speak up for yourself. Caymanians, if you have people working that you have a work permit for and they don't want to come to work, they're avoiding you to come to work, and you hear they're gone to work with somebody else, listen, don't be afraid to cancel their work permits. You'll get another work permit as long as you are documenting yourself the right way. And do not encourage these people to bring people from outside the country, and you know that it's not legal. That's human trafficking, and you Caymanians will get charged too. You know who some of you are, because I know some of you. This has nothing to do with somebody who has a business license and subcontracting somebody out to somebody else, because work approves those kinds of business license. As long as work approves it, WORC, not WORK. Right? So again, I'm going to say, the Cayman Islands knows about you recruitment agencies that's around the international scenery, taking people's monies and bringing them here. The government has been very vocal about that, the opposition and the sitting government. So you can't get away from it. And there are unilateral and bilateral agreements between countries. So don't bother think that Cayman can't get in touch with Jamaica or the Philippines or Honorable Andrew Holiness and whoever, and talk to them. These are the world leaders of these countries, so they talk. You best believe that. We have what are they called? We have representatives from the Philippines coming here because the Philippines, those Asian countries, they're very serious about their people, you know. They will come here to make sure that their people are being taken care of. Honduras, they do the same thing. They send representatives from down there to come up here, make sure their people are being taken care of. So don't bother think that you're getting away with anything, you agencies that are recruiting these people and treating them bad. Very Jamaicans are doing it to their own people. Filipinos are doing it to their own people. Caymanians are doing it to their own Caymanians and to immigrants. And that is what the government is trying to also curb. It's not only about the government trying to get rid of all the expats or the immigrants and don't want people to be happy and don't want people to have families and don't want the expats to get paid and all that. That's not all it's about, people, and I must try to think with a little common sense a little bit. Please, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone, but stop for a minute, pause, and think. What else is the government trying to accomplish besides what they say that the bill is supposed to do? There's other things that I'm trying to spell it out and lay it out plain for you guys. Much of it is to protect you, because if you don't want to be here, you can go. If you want to be here, you can stay and you can just conform. Now, I am fighting. I have been fighting and I'm still fighting and hoping that the next thing that will be on the table will be that residential tenancies amendment, so we can get some relief for landlord and tenants' rights. Because it's poor posture that our governments have not, respectfully, I'm talking not about one government, not this present, not the past or before. The Residential Tenancies Act was passed in 2009 under the UDP government, and then the Progressives came into power for I think 8 or 12 years, something like that, and it was just sitting there, nobody did nothing about it. I did something about it. You can do something about it. Anytime you got any feedback, you go to your MPs or you go to the representatives. As long as you hear legal in the Cayman Islands, you can go and talk and say, you know, I have a work permit and this is what happened to me. And that helps to change the laws. That helps to change the policies. So I'm hoping the next thing that they're going to be working on is that Residential Tenancies Act. They can get a grievance board where people can go and file their complaints about their condition, their living conditions and all that sorts of stuff. Landlords, try to start taking care of your properties bit by bit, room by room, because many of these properties that are being rented out to low income workers and families, Caymanian families, are already paid for. Many of them are already paid for, so it's not nothing about you got to pay in a bank where you're charging people market value or inflated by the realtor's value of properties. People are just being greedy. And some of the conditions that I see pictures of that people share with me of where they live, it's disgraceful. It should not be happening in the Cayman Islands. We don't have any slums here, but they're making slums. Even I'm going to close with this, is 43 minutes. Even Rock Hole and what we used to call Dog City, excuse me, even those places are in better conditions than many of the other places that I see people renting in moderate neighborhoods by Caymanians, and by Caymanians that are in good jobs and can afford to renovate places, and it's shameful. With that, I leave you guys. I'm going to talk about the price increase. Excuse me, I'm sorry to cough on camera, but I'll talk about that in the next video.